because of not high damage burst hero early game, but when it comes to sustainability, helping the team to actually make more poke damage, it kind of big of a nuisance if you ask me.
Ayo, Ripo's gonna be playing today.
Hey!
This day just got way better for me. But yes, GEEK Indonesia gonna start off with very traditional bans here. Looks like they're not going to get rid of the Claude this time round. There's too many other priorities coming in with the Kaja as well as the Ling. Looks like they are not target banning brands this time,
Hey,
but they're looking to close the meta.
The fact that they kind of how do I alter the lighting and exposure to just making that logo more...
It's pretty sexy, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, back then it was too much lights, the exposure was too much, but they did ban the Claude on the side of BIGETRON, so who will they pick first? There's also still Valor, Esmeralda, like we said before, Esmeralda with Angela is kind of invincible.
Yeah, it's very difficult to deal with here, but the fact that they have the Esmeralda just means that, hey, you're going to have one terrible lane matchup, which is going to be the Uranus, because Esmeralda is greatly flexed. However, they're deterring a lot of teams from going to Angela, especially for BIGETRON Esports' side, because once again, Esmeralda will just suck away that shield.
That's true, and one more thing is that they do have Kufra to avoid anybody to jump or flicker away, making sure they can actually go super aggressive in the early phase of the game. I don't know, these days there's not many teams that kind of just put marksman as something that they want core for a late game. There's also options for like assassins out there. I like the fact they took this Farsa just to avoid for the combination on the side of BIGETRON if they want to land the Feather Airstrike along with the Feather Links out there. If it got clipped that a lot, it's almost impossible to run. Imagine also, I've tested this a few days ago in a tournament where you can use Feather Links. You know it's a bit delayed when you want to cast that spell, right? And you can also combo with Lolita at the same time. Lolita and who is his name again? Sorry, Atlas. If you combo it at the same time and you have Feather Airstrike to just drop the bomb, the burst is just impossible to run away from.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that BIGETRON need to really consider here, and that's why they're going to go very early on with the Lancelot, expecting the other picks coming in from GEEK Indonesia to be actually really, really squishy here. Farsa going to be, primary target #1 for Lancelot, but they still need a marksman that can actually deal with that front line here. But BIGETRON, instead of picking up the carry for themselves, it looks like they're giving it. It looks like they're going to ban it out. Even though personally, I feel like GEEK Indonesia should have been the one to make the call.
Because they're going to be the first pick for GEEK Indonesia after their ban, so it's best to avoid that because. If they have carry on the side of GEEK Indonesia, that's kind of hard for the side of BIGETRON. You have that really slow AoE come out from the pinwheel of the carry himself. And then there's also Kufra jumping in there. The Feather Airstrike just making sure you're not going to move anywhere. Jumping in Esmeralda with Star and Moonfall, you cannot possibly run, even though you're a Lancelot. But that bouncing ball coming out from Kufra will be a handful to actually deal with. So, they can go for Lancelot hyper farm and hyper carry if they want to, but it's a bit risky. I still think that, I don't know.
It looks like BIGETRON looks like they want to play a 1-3-1 regardless here. However, GEEK Indonesia, it looks like BIGETRON is looking to just go for whatever they can steal away from GEEK at this point, because GEEK have a very strong core. It's very difficult to deal with that 3, but now they're looking for a stronger side lane pusher with the Roger, as well as the Wan hovering over both. Both have some pretty decent matchups in the side lane, especially against the Thamos. Wan especially going very well against the Thamos, able to kind of kite him around despite how much Thamos himself has a gap closer. Roger most likely going to go into the mid lane. They're going to figure out where Uranus is going to go, send the Esmeralda. Oh, Jawhead here. All right.
Jawhead, when it comes to fighting against heroes who's super tanky, high sustainability, like for example even Thamos himself, we have a lot of beefy heroes coming out from the side of BIGETRON here. So it's best to have something that can have continuous damage, like the smart missiles coming out from the Jawhead himself, but can they shut down this Lancelot? Well, yeah, they do have the charging coming out from the jaw hit, but will it be enough?
Well, maybe, maybe not. It's going to be a little bit tough because a lot of it has to do with just mechanical skill. Can you dodge the right abilities with your perfect execution as well as your 3 Thorn Rose? It's going to be tough to say. Brand's going to be hyper carrying on that. Lancelot himself has to be very, very worried of GEEK Fam Indonesia's Jawhead. That's going to be Jawhead as well as Kufra, because both of these heroes are going to be gunning out for his life. BIGETRON, the final pick being the Kagura. Definitely understand. Would have preferred a Valir a little bit more, but at least with the Kagura, she has natural mobility to kind of not get caught by Kufra in the flank.
Not just that, I think they're picking off Kagura just for the sake of having a second damage output in case they're shutting down that Lancelot. So it's just a safe pick other than Valir. If they pick Valir, yeah, it's good for early game, but then after that, when it comes to late game, the burst damage is still decent enough, but not as great as Kagura can, put it out there.
Kagura's skills much better into the game. I totally agree with that. But it's just the fact that now that Yin Yang Overturn is probably going to be used as either a combo tool or a disengage tool. So personally, I think naturally Valir has the better disengage tools.
I think it's more about combo tool because you can see how much AoE coming up from Fatal Link just now. They want something with huge AoE to follow up to that. So maybe that's one of the reasons why they're picking off Kagura. But if this Kagura won't be caught up in between so many fights, maybe if the Yin and Yang Overturn coming up on the right time, it's all about timing on the side of BIGETRON heroes here. We're talking about all the correct timing, making sure they don't overuse their spells in the wrong time. And when it comes to GEEK Fam Indonesia, they do have quite decent lineup. I'm talking about they can just go full aggression. Speaking of which, Bravo straight away being attacked on every side possible because all their heroes have continuous damage. All their CDs is like quite low. Speaking of BIGETRON side, they infiltrated straight into the blue buff on the side of GEEK Fam Indonesia, but they will go the same side for the side of GEEK Fam Indonesia. The moment they got themselves the first blood just now, they have an extra experience, extra goal to start with, while Dreams got caught up in so many people of GEEK Fam Indonesia. Last hit, he managed to just get away from there.
Oh, Deosil is now going to be on the chopping block here. Nobody to help him disengage from this team. GEEK Fam Indonesia, they lose one. So they've traded, both teams have traded 1 for 1 in the span of a minute and 30 seconds. But overall, I do think BIGETRON is playing a more proactive role and also getting very greedy with their plays here. They said even though they did sacrifice Bravo down on the bot side. Oh no, Rippo! Getting solo killed by Ramzu up in the top side of the battle. Oof, that is unfortunate.
Yeah, speaking of the lineup again, I'm not done with this because the way they're playing is still different. If you look at GEEK Fam Indonesia, the way they play it, they force a fight after a fight and they can keep on going. They don't have problem with their... It's not like a one-shot, one combo, which on the side of BIGETRON Esport, if they can pull out that one huge combo, it's going to be a total wipeout for GEEK Fam Indonesia. But if they actually accidentally misposition themselves, miscalculate the timings and whatever, they have to back off. They are being forced to back off, which GEEK Fam Indonesia will force them to fight later on.
And at this point in time, GEEK Fam Indonesia, they just need Wong Koko to get his level 4, and then things can really start to shape up. And the same thing goes for Joker. This is a very meta which really focuses around the supports because they're the only things that are going to buffer and buy time, engage, as well as bring utility for the hyper carries here. But Ipin, once again, trying to kind of hold his ground here with Joker jumping into the fray to buy him some time. But this allows Dokosil to get ready, already popping that Bloodlust to deter the enemies here, as BIGETRON have to retreat after using so many cooldowns on just Ipin.
Yeah, it's going to be a total long cooldown coming from the Feather Asher. Another 15 seconds probably from now on. But look at that, Lancelot just straight away going from Wong Koko, but managed to escape with a slither of health left. On the side of BIGETRON, they know the countdown for the blue buff, going for more. Doyoks will probably have to be forced to retreat for now. Will they go for the blue buff on the side of BIGETRON Esport? Not yet. Well, Joker will have to force into a retreat, but they will secure themselves that blue buff again. Probably KYY will take this one out, as the blue buff before was taken by Lancelot. Brands right now trying to go to finish off their blue buff, while Joker tried to just stall the time. On the bottom lane, on the other hand, we're looking at Esmeralda. Esmeralda back then, when they don't have buff on Esmeralda. They always scratches his head and saying that we can't win this because our Esmeralda doesn't have any blue buff. But on this meta these days, it's like totally different Esmeralda we're talking about.
Yeah, and now BIGETRON Esports have to try and take this turtle away. They don't want it stolen by the side. Oh, do they get it? No, they don't. Retribution already be used by King Brands himself, and now they're going to be sucking in with a Fatal Lynx, bringing back in Joker, who is standing too far out. And I think overall, I think BIGETRON has a better communication here, because whenever they want to make a play, when in terms of just invading, they're asking Rippo, hey, Rippo, proxy that wave. We will try and push out mid as quickly as possible. And now they're setting up the play to make a dive onto Ramzu, who is over pushed the top side. That smart missiles ain't going to help, and King Brands misses the perfect execution, but it's just to zone him back into the brush.
I have to agree when it comes to communication. We do see a faster communication coming from BIGETRON. How they're backing up one of their teammates and how fast they rotate is sort of a bit delayed when it comes from GeekFam Indonesia. When it comes to having that top lane backed up, if only they can just 1 second a bit early, they're probably going to wipe the whole team of BIGETRON Esport on the top lane. Just now, while on bottom lane, they do have one tower down. Bravo making sure he's going straight for objective, not even trying to provoke on the side of Esmeralda, just going for the tower. That's what he's just going to do. Making sure he's covering the lane from mid and bottom, push the lane as much as possible, making sure that they got a map control. While on the other hand here, we have all the other players of GeekFam Indonesia struggling. They kind of lost here what to do. They're not sure whether to go for top lane or mid lane. They keep on losing their time, wasting a lot of time just to rotate between two lanes, getting nothing.
It looks like GeekFam Indonesia at this point in time are just playing based off of information here. However, like when spreading out your members across the map is good to figure out that information. It's what you do with it, which is so much more important. KYY now in a lot of trouble here, gets ejected back out of here, but luckily they have the Purify just in case. But KYY able to get his animation off, changing places with the Umbrella, securing the kill onto Ramzu, being hyperly aggressive here.
We can see there's a lot of things going wrong for the side of GeekFam Indonesia. It seems like they're not sure what to do here. We're talking about the first few minutes of the game. They had it right. They had a right start. But then it's just all over the place. They didn't have any... They have the heroes, but they just don't have any communication to see where to go, what to do, who they're gonna pick off. Whenever they try to do that, there's always a backing up person coming up from BIGETRON's side, making sure they fail to do so, and that's wasting so much resources just to kill that one person that didn't even get that kill.
Speaking of resources, actually, the people who really need their items, I mean, to get a bigger snowball, it's definitely going to be Wong Koko here. Oh, wait a minute, is King Brands going to be able to kill off Joker here? Joker survives with a little bit of HP, but coming back to the composition, like, yeah, both Ipin and Doyok as well require items. I'm not sure how many masks they actually bought, but I'm assuming they're distributing the gold pretty evenly amongst their two hyper carries here. And unfortunately, for Ipin himself, he hasn't even finished it. Oh, he kind of finished his first item, but it's not, you know, as big of a power spike as Calamity Reaper. He needs a little bit more before he can start taking full-on fights for BIGETRON.
I know why he's doing this instead of Calamity Reaper. He needs the mana sustainability, and that book actually helps a lot because Calamity Reaper does give you a lot of damage, but going on top here, they're picking off that tower by tossing one person just now back away, but it seems like they're losing a lot of map control on the side of GeekFam Indonesia. Speaking of which, what they really need right now is either Farsa, Wong Koko, or even Ipin try to get themselves a necklace of Durance. That's what they really need, because we're looking at a lot of regen heroes, including Bravo just finished himself an Oracle, and they have Ripple on that side too. If they want to shut this down, they need something to stop their regen and their sustainability of the heroes, and making sure they will be forced to back out when the burst damage drop like the airstrike just now. But it doesn't seem like they pulling things together for the side of GeekFam Indonesia.
Yeah, I think BIGETRON just has the better wave clear as of right now, with KYY and King Brands on very strong wave clearing heroes. It's becoming difficult for GeekFam to maintain priority in the lanes, so that means even their rotations are kind of slow. Fatal Link Sun coming on Ramzu, but they're going in with a perfect execution, instantly popping him down. The Lunge able to secure the kill, but with the Tyrant's Revenge, it's a little too late. Can't secure anything more with no follow-up from GeekFam Indonesia. They're going to be losing that fight there, as BIGETRON being proactive on the map and utilizing the composition's benefits as a huge advantage, turning the tides into their favor.
Is it just me, or BIGETRON Esports always make sure that they have at least 3 to 4 men in one fight? While there's always not enough people on the side of GEEK fam here.
Well, for the side of BIGETRON Esports, really, it's just a 1-in-4 composition where Uranus is basically allowed to do what he wants to do, or Thamus, and now Doyoke once again going to get caught off guard. The Fatal Lynx is going to pull off the Farsa as well. Looks like BIGETRON are going to take anybody who walks out from the base of GEEK fam Indonesia, and they can't really walk up anyways because they don't even have the security of their mid-tier 1s or tier 2s.
They need all 5 men all together for GEEK fam Indonesia. There's no way they can defend this with only 2 person. Joker and Ipin won't be enough. They need that Jawhead coming in, but they need to push the lane as well. But I don't think it's wise to just let the inhibitor tower down just for the sake of pushing the side lanes here. The moment they lost themselves the inhibitor tower, that gives so much space for BIGETRON to actually get themselves the next Lord, which is going to be just 60 seconds away. And the moment they got themselves that Lord, I don't think they can catch up when it comes to gold resources. Even the gap is widening up here, and Ramzu, every single time he overstayed himself, he can just teleport away just now.
He probably could have. And I think he probably should have cleared that last wave before dying. I think that would have been the most important thing for his role. But as of now, BIGETRON, their team fighting composition is already online, and GEEK fam Indonesia have recognized that they are looking for picks with Joker, Joker as well as the Jawhead. Jawhead is in a more split pushing role, as GEEK fam Indonesia can't really win these bigger team fights until Ipin gets his items.
That's the thing. The moment the Joker is not joining in the war, who's gonna shut down Lancelot? Pretty much he's overformed right now, 503, and he's probably got himself like 2 core items at this point.
Well,
minimum.
I think they should have played the mid game a little bit better than if they wanted those kind of results. But however, the bottom side is in a little bit of trouble. Joker, with the help of Long Coco, helping to secure and putting up a great defense here, despite having an exposed, a destroyed inhibitor down in the mid lane.
And they're gonna go for a lot. And I have no clue how they're gonna compete to this, because apparently there's no way they can reach you a lot. How they're being zoning out by the fact they have Atlas and Uranus, also Kagura. They can't even go past 3 people. That just shows that the Lord will march up with them alongside of BIGETRON right now, and they still can put so much poke damage on this bottom lane. 5v3, look at that. They still managed to pull it off, but that Feather Airstrike won't do much damage so far. Ipin just have to back out for a bit. They had a great start, but what happened just now is just miscommunication. I can see it too apparent, and they need to figure things out here. They need all 5 men at least defend this one Lord. They cannot afford to have 1 man short at all.
And here's the problem with GEEK fam Indonesia's composition, because like if they don't control the mid game or at least go even during the mid game, now it's where they're really going to struggle, because their only engaged tool is Joker and Ipin. And I mean, arguably Ramzu, but he's so weak as of right now that he's going to get one shot by King Brands and KYY if he walks up too far. King Brands now buying the BOD as they look for their final push. GEEK fam Indonesia, if they just took more 50-50s in the mid game, this would have looked a lot more different. However, Ipin's KDA is still pretty much 0-0, so that means he's been farming this entire game. Hopefully those items are going to be enough as BTR break into the bottom inhibitor, and they want to go for one more.
It's going to be a bold base for them. And now looking at this, Ipin just started engaged, but not much following up coming up from the team here. Jumping after one another, the Feather Airstrike a bit lopsided, I have to say. If only it's more centralized, probably going to deal a lot more damage. Well, Bravo! There's no way to shut this guy down!
No, but notice
why
Ipin.
Would they focus on a tank that's impossible to shut down?
I'm not entirely sure, but Ipin's still holding his ground, but now he's going to be the one getting chunked out here. Despite the Star Moon shields that he's getting, it's going to be a BIGETRON-centric game.
That's too one-sided, if you ask me.
It was very one-sided for the side of BIGETRON.
They don't go for kills. All they do is just making sure they got themselves the map control.